Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. Rusty and Heather Bryant are back with you today, and we are back home.
Yes.
And
in our studio.
In our studio. It's been a while, actually, because I think that before we left for Montana, we did a couple of episodes. And then while we were in Montana, we did an episode live, and we're tired.
But you know, that episode in Montana was so fun. Like, I wonder how many people who listened to us stopped it and went and watched it on YouTube, you know? Because I would have wanted to see that view.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, and it was very, I was going to say elementary. How do you say? It was very... Simple, yeah, I guess, because we just stuck our phone up there, but we had microphones. So that was
I see
good.
what you're saying. Yeah.
And
it wasn't high tech.
Wasn't professionally done by any means, but I think it might have given people a glimpse. But so many people followed along our journey during the retreat. We post lots of pictures and videos and stuff during the retreat, but then also our book writing process. And so
that was fun.
So, you know, here's what we're going to do today. We literally just coming back from basically being gone for 2 weeks. And we are going to do a little bit of a behind the scenes. We're going to pull back the curtain a little bit and let you into our lives from the last couple of weeks. But I think the real reason for this is because as we sat at that retreat with these amazing couples that attended, I think we sort of realized that people don't really know what our retreats are all about. And, you know, I don't know if there's people, well, I do know this. We put on there, and after seeing all this, who has this on their bucket list now? And there's a lot of people that want to come to Montana with us, and I don't blame you. But we have other retreats that we do as well. And so we just wanted to, for a minute today, kind of peel back the curtains, let you know what a retreat with the Redeemed Marriage is really like. What's it like to be at a retreat with Rusty and Heather?
And how does it look different than coaching or an intensive or, you know, when we go and speak somewhere? Yeah.
And, you know, I think we can give some insights too as to like what did we hear back from the people that were there? And, you know, what did we get out of it? So, so I think, first of all, if you are interested in a retreat that we do, we want you to know why it's different and how it's different. I feel like when we hear the word retreat, you're thinking about a lot of people and somebody up talking to a lot of people. Right. I mean, that feels... Right?
Yeah, well, because we say often in our story, we went to marriage retreats, we did, you know, and we never went to anything like what we provide. We went more of a couple to sit in the audience while someone spoke and talked.
Yeah.
And that's not what ours are like.
Right. That's not. So we do that. I think we now call that or label that more of like a conference.
And or a speaking engagement.
Or a speaking engagement of some sort.
Day.
And we love doing that. But our real heart is being able to look people in the eyes and being able to become friends with people. And that happens across the screen when we do marriage coaching. We love marriage coaching because it is, even though there's a screen and these people are from all over the world, it's very intimate because we really get to know these people. And we love it because we get to know them so much that I think there's also this longing to, I want to see these people in person. I want to give these people a hug because we feel like we've become really good friends. And so what was so cool about this retreat is that two of the couples...
There were 4 couples there.
4 couples. Okay, so that's the biggest difference in our retreats is our retreats are very intimate.
Yep.
So we do a retreat in Atlanta, And
that one has 3 couples.
3 couples. And this is a space, it is a space thing, but it's also, we've talked a little bit, we'll tell you a little bit about why it's more than just, oh, we can only have 3 people because of space, or
Right.
4 people or 4 couples because of space. But in Atlanta, we have 3 couples that will join us. And so, I mean, it's us hanging out with 3 couples for 3 days. It's a night and then a full day and then the next morning. So it's usually a weekend thing. And it's an incredible setting. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just a great place to get away, connect with your spouse, but really an intimate time with us and the other couples.
Yep.
So we go to Montana. We've done 3 of those, right? Okay, so so we've had three or four retreats that we've done in Atlanta. We'll have another one coming up in March. We went to Montana for the first time. We've been there, but it was the first time to do a retreat this past week or 2 weeks ago, I guess. And this one was 4 couples, and we had a few more people that were interested, but we finally decided we don't want it to become too big where it's not intimate anymore.
Well, this was also our first one in Montana, so we wanted to see how the schedule rolled, how, what everybody thought, the eating out, the chef, all the things, and just wanted to be like, okay, did this go well? And if it did, could we handle a couple of more couples?
Sure.
Yeah. And so, I think the max we would ever do for there, even if we had more space, which we could make that happen, we want it to be small like that. So I would think 5 or 6 couples at max.
I think it ended up being perfect.
4 was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll see. But it was a longer retreat.
Yep.
So we go to Montana, and we'll go back there next fall. Will be the next one that we do there. But when we go to Montana, it's harder to get there. It costs more money to get there. All of the things. And so a little bit of a longer stay. We come in on a Sunday and we leave on a Thursday. So we're there for 3 full days, and then the travel days.
And the activities there are, we have so much. We have to allow more time for connection with your spouse. And so we needed more days to get in all of the things that we wanted to teach.
So we'll tell you just for a minute, since you started talking about the activities, it's not just that we have this rigid schedule to where we just sit and we're in, talk mode and listen mode and share mode. And we went to Glacier National Park and we hiked as a group together, and it was amazing.
We had lunch at Lake McDonald,
picnic.
a picnic lunch
Oh
on the
God.
On the edge of Lake McDonald.
It was beautiful. And then on top of that, we did each day. There were things to do in the area where we were without, you didn't have to drive places. You could do things. There was fishing. There was hopping in kayaks and boats and paddling around. And it did rain a couple of days. And so we shifted the schedule, which that's the other thing that's so great about it. When it's a small group, you can get everybody's opinions, make sure everybody's okay. You shift the schedule around. And then we even had some added activities that you could choose to do if you wanted to. We had somebody come and teach shooting. I mean, it's like you're on a ranch.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically at a ranch.
There's pickleball. And there was one other thing that when you said shooting, pickleball, and I feel like there was one more, but it'll come to me. Keep going.
Well, and there's horses there, but we didn't do horseback riding because we thought the horses were going to be gone.
E-bikes.
There are e-bikes. There it is.
Sorry, there it is.
So there's all sorts of things to do, but it's really, honestly, it kind of becomes more about the connection than about the content. The content's important, and we got a lot of feedback on that, but it's about connecting with your spouse and then connecting with the couples that are there. And so we made lifelong, really, really close friends. We're close friends now with these couples, which is amazing. And so the other thing, we do have sessions. The content was great, and it's in a setting and an environment where people can share freely, and we can encourage each other, people that are on the same road and or have been there. We talked about teamwork. We talked about spiritual intimacy. We talked about physical intimacy. We did a couple of sessions on communication. I mean, we covered a lot of stuff during that time, and it was great. Lots of good feedback just on how it just kind of shifted some thinking in them. All right, we got to talk about food. I mean, holy cow. I mean, somebody actually said, I don't think I'll eat anything like that.
Or better than that.
On this side of heaven. and I agree.
Yeah.
There's a chef there. And you know, I don't know. People, when you think chef, I don't know what people's thoughts are. But
I think, I was fixing to say Dave Ramsey.
It's Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay.
But it's nice Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we had him for 2 meals. And Chef Josh, oh my goodness. Like you just, there's no way to describe it.
There's no way to describe it.
And then
it was
they
like
have
6 courses.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then there's the saloon where we got to go and eat lunch one day. And it's just it's such a cool hangout. It's in where the stables are. I mean, I don't know. There's no way to describe what we experienced. But I think the greatest thing about being there, it was the people.
Yeah.
And so just the connection that we made with the people. And I didn't know if maybe, is there anything that like one of them said or anything you heard that just kind of, hey, this is some great way to sum up what a retreat's all about or anything? I mean, I kind of put you on the spot a little bit.
Well, I just, what I was sitting over here thinking is how amazing it was to meet new people that we had never met before.
Yeah, because they were from Texas, Iowa, Kentucky, and Arizona.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we were there from Mississippi and our host from Georgia.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is 2 of those couples we literally did not know. Like one, we had gotten on a 30-minute Zoom call just to talk about the retreat. They had some questions. But the other couple we'd never met, except they respond on some of our social media stuff. And then we had 2 couples that we had done coaching with, but we had never met them in person. And just like, there's just something about, I mean, I got to get my hands on them.
Yeah,
and
shake them.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, just knowing, you know, of course, they know more about us than we know about them going in because we tell our whole life. But just getting to know them and just the encouragement that we got from them. Like I didn't leave empty.
Right.
You know, sometimes when we do speaking engagements, we just pour out and pour out and pour out, and it's like, whoa, when we're done. But like there was I felt fed as well. Because, you know, they didn't all have the same story. It amazes me every retreat that we do, how God orchestrates the people to be there together, the ways they connect to each other. And so they didn't all have the same story. They didn't all have our story, but it was just being able to be in a place where we could connect with other couples who love the Lord and who are doing everything they can to make sure that their marriage glorifies Him. And with that being said, I was then poured back into. You know, this isn't exactly what you asked, but one of the things we talked about was ways we connect to the Lord, and that oftentimes that's different than our spouse's way. And we use the book that Gary Thomas wrote called Sacred Pathways, and we've done a podcast on that before, just that it was so eye-opening for us to learn that we connected to the Lord differently. You know, individually we connect differently, and how we can love each other and support each other in that. And that was a really powerful session. that when we were talking about spiritual intimacy, and lots of people in their post retreat survey said that was one of their favorite sessions. But here's the part that just encouraged me and gave me so much life. Not only did I not feel alone in our pursuit of the Lord and wanting so desperately for other people to catch that vision of, marriages, how important they are in God's kingdom. And but our youngest son got sick while we were in Montana. We came out from hiking, and we had text from Logan and his girlfriend saying, "Hey, we're on our way to the ER." We knew that he had gotten pneumonia because he went to like a little urgent care, or little doctor's office, and they did a X-ray and said, "Yeah, I think you have pneumonia." They gave him a shot and an antibiotic. But his neck was hurting. He got some medical advice from family because he couldn't reach us, and they said it was best to go to the ER. So he went. Well, I just immediately, because we came out from hiking and our phones started blowing up, and we got in two separate cars, and you were in one car and I was in one car, just to balance things out and make sure everybody knew where they were going. And I got that phone call. Called and talked to his girlfriend, and I hung up and I said, "I need someone to pray." I was scared. I was nervous. I was feeling a little out of control. The mom guilt was hitting that I was, 2 airplanes away and he's in the ER. And I said, "I need somebody to pray." And one of the gentlemen, without missing a beat, just called out to God and was like, "God, this child, he was calling him by name. He was praying for Logan specifically. He was praying for me. He was praying for you. He was praying for the doctors. And just that, us being so far away, it's scary." But he didn't hesitate. It was, I'm calling out to the God that we all serve, and was asking for healing and for God's hand to be on him even that far away. And I just remember thinking, I don't know these people well, because this was just after day one. We went hiking on the second day because of the
very next day.
Our first full day there, because the weather was going to be most beautiful that day, and so we changed it up. And we had only spent 2 sessions with these people, and he was praying and crying out to God like he knew us perfectly and knew Logan perfectly. And I just, the calmness and that ministered to me so much, because we were the ones supposed to be pouring out. And yet I was like, I have nothing. I was driving because I knew where to go. So I was driving one car, and I just remember I can't do this. Well, later on, towards the end, when we were talking about takeaways, his wife said, because she sat up front with me, and she spoke, and she said that one of the most powerful moments for her was just watching how I responded to that crisis. When I say I had nothing left because I didn't know what to say, but I was open-handedly saying, "God, you've got this. I have no control. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you." And after he finished praying, I had on worship music, and I had my hand raised. I was probably freaking, some of them out. And I had my hand raised, and I was just, the songs that were coming on, I was praising and worshiping a God that I knew was in control and that I trusted. Well, I thought nothing of that. That was the way I connect. If you haven't heard that podcast, the way I connect most to the Lord is through worship. And that's how I knew, I need you now, and this is how I know to do that. And so she was just saying how powerful that was to watch and to witness, and not to pat myself on the back, but she was able to, because of that, she was able to think, how do I connect to the Lord? How would I have responded in that situation? What is it that I need to do to make sure that I connect? And so, believe it or not, that was just one of the things that I look back on and go, that was powerful for me. And to know that that those people were there. They were trusting us. They spent a lot of money to come there for the food and for the accommodations and for the curriculum. But they were there, but it wasn't just for us to teach them. Like, they came alongside us in a time of need and a time of fear. And don't worry, Logan's fine. He did have pneumonia. They gave him some powerful antibiotics by IV and sent him home, and he's doing fine. But it was just, that wasn't even a moment that somebody said how we changed their life. It was how they changed mine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that every time we do an event or something big happens, the enemy tries to attack us. And we had already shared with them. And that's the other thing. Like, we never, let's try to hide the fact that we're worried about our kid that we can't do anything about. And we had already mentioned it to him because we knew he had pneumonia.
Right.
But then coming off of that hike, it was like, now he's in the hospital.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot and a lot of emotions, but...
Well, and a lot of fear, because I forgot to say, when he went in, they flagged him as possible septic. And that just brought on a whole new fear.
Right.
So, okay, continue.
But I think that it's so important that we are saying we're journeying with these people just like they're journeying with us. And so never were we trying to hide that we were scared or fearful or distracted even. Like, we wanted them to know that this is what the enemy does.
Yep.
And so we were just very upfront about it, and they just came alongside us. And it's so great because every day they asked about him multiple times a day. And then even since we've been back, they keep texting and asking about him. And so it was just a great picture of what the church is supposed to be and what believers are supposed to be. And so, we just journeyed with them. And so you made a comment and you said, at the end of the week, we didn't feel like we were empty. We really felt like we were full too. And I think that was so important because we ended up staying for 4 extra days-ish, 4 or 5 days, and we started writing. And so we can pull back the curtains a little bit more and talk just a minute about our writing, because it was an experience. And here's the thing. We have writing on our radar. And so we know that writing is... Writing a book is something that we have wanted to do and we haven't had time. But I think that when we think about writers, we read a lot of fiction books. And these people are churning out books that are hundreds and hundreds of pages and chapters, and they're churning out one book once a year or maybe even multiple times a year. And we're always thinking, how in the world? Like, how could you do that? And then you've got these big writers, these famous writers that are writing things and sharing all of the stuff that they're doing, and they're doing it multiple times a year. And so we just start thinking, how in the world could we pull something like that off? And do they really do it? And I think the funny thing is that we also had somebody that wrote multiple marriage books throughout the years. I think he ended up writing 90-something books, and we found out that most of those were done with a ghostwriter. And so we started thinking, well, gosh, maybe we should get a ghostwriter. Maybe none of these people actually write anything on their own. Maybe it's all ghostwriters that are doing this. But we were like, nope, we're going to write. And so we got there after all of our retreat participants left, and we started the book writing process. And we really did write our own book. But we got almost done with it just in those few days. And it didn't really look anything like I thought it was going to look.
Nope.
And how we were, not the book itself, but the process.
Yeah.
But we didn't know. And I just think there's people out there that are going, how do you even write a book? Like, do you just sit down and you just write it all at once? And I don't know. We don't even know what people do.
That's right.
Do they? I have heard people say, as you're writing a book, set yourself a goal to, either 250 words a day or 1,000 words a day. And I'm going to tell you, we didn't even know what that meant. Like, we don't even know how many words are in a book normally. And so we started looking into all of that and doing some research and, and then to find out that we needed to put together 2,500 to 3,000 words a chapter. And if you had said that to me before we started writing, I've been like, how many pages is that?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
How many topics can we cover in that?
Yeah. And so we just started writing and, well, first we outlined this thing.
Yes. Well, and that's what I was going to say. We outlined it and then that completely changed because we were like, okay, Friday night.
Changed as we were writing.
Yeah. So that Friday night, after we had taken all our people to the airport, and it was just us, and we just had big Post-it notes all over the wall, and wrote down what we thought the outline would look like. And then as we began writing, that changed, and God changed how he changed our mind on some things, and because nobody wants to read a book of just our story. They want to read a book of how did God use our story to change our marriage and how can they do the same thing. And so our outline changed and it was just a fun process. I say it was a fun process. There was some hurt.
Well, it was because the way we did it, we were not writing it together.
No.
We were each one of us was telling our own version of the story.
Yep.
And then
for example, Chapter 1 is confession, obviously. And you told your story and I told mine. And
then we read it to each other.
Yes.
And I think that was one of the coolest things that we did because we would do that for every chapter. So we would start the chapter, we would have an outline for the chapter. We dig a little deeper and here's the outline. Make sure you talk about these things. I'm talking about these things. And then we would write separately, not even in the same room.
No.
We were writing separately. And then one of us would get up and go to the other one, how many words you got? And we'd say, okay, well, if we combine them, we might have a chapter. And so then we would just sit down and one of us would read theirs first and the other one. And, we've heard each other tell the story and tell our versions of the story so many times. But to actually hear it when it's been thought out enough to write it was very different. Yeah. And there were times when both of us would say, this is kind of hard to read out loud and it's hard for me to read it to you. But it just was a process that we didn't finish. We almost finished.
We have 2 chapters left.
Yeah, we almost finished. And I don't know. I think I thought the worst going into it. Like, this is going to be so hard.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. It was just a really, really good experience that I think God just kept guiding us all along the way. Yes, and
that's what I was going to say. You asked God to come into the process with us, and He showed up. Like, there is something there that when we look back, and we've said so many times, when we look back and at D-Day, we had nothing to turn to. Nothing to turn to. And I believe that there are couples everywhere that need some type of roadmap to go by. And we can say, this is what we did. This is our story. And this is how God led our story. We didn't even know this was coming down the road, but He allowed us to make decisions that we made or decisions you made. He led us in decisions and things to do so that one day we could say, hey, this is what worked for us. And so He guided every single step. And it's not like we have 2 more chapters in the word and then we're ready to release. Like, we have the rough draft of those chapters.
Yeah. Well, and people may be wondering, when's the book going to come out? We have no idea because the next part of the process, we literally just got off the phone with somebody that's a writer that was giving us advice. And so, just to throw it out there, we don't even know the route that we're about to take because
do we get a publisher? Do we self-publish?
Right. And if you're listening and you're like, ooh, I know a publisher, give us a call. Or
if you are a publisher.
We got a great story for you. No, we have some connections, which is great, but We just don't know where God's leading us right now.
That's
and
right.
so, but in all seriousness, that's one reason why we're throwing this out there to our people that support us and listen to us and believe in us, because you may know somebody that could help us with this, and we just don't want to miss something along the way. We want to do what God wants to happen. We want what God wants to happen. We want it to happen. And, our biggest thing is that we want, like Heather said, we want a resource for somebody else out there that's searching for something and they can't find what they're looking for. So, if you know a publisher, let us know. But besides that, if you're interested in a retreat, now that you know what we're talking about and when we publicize our retreats, if you're interested, you can go to our website, theredeemedmarriage.com, and there is a retreat interest form that you can fill out, or you can just fill out the contact form and just say, hey, I heard you guys talking about the retreat, and I want to be on the list for Atlanta retreat or Montana retreat or, whatever. So,
and we have one in Florida too.
Yeah. What? No, we have an intensive in Florida.
Intensive in Florida. Sorry. Tell me what the difference is.
Well, an intensive is just 2 on 2.
Yep.
Just us and you as a couple.
And usually it's for a couple who's in crisis. Like, we need help right now.
Yeah, so that's the difference. And we can do those in Atlanta or in Florida. So, that's the difference in those things. So we just wanted you guys to know and be aware of what our retreats are. We just are kind of on a high from that. And so we wanted to pull back the curtains and let you see what it was all about. So you can come be a part of one of these in the future.
Yep. We don't usually do this, but I feel really led just to pray. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. God, we just thank you for this time that we have just to spend with our listeners. And I thank you for the people who faithfully listen to us every week. And I also thank you for the people who may have just happened upon this episode. God, I thank you for the time that we had with the members of our group that came to the retreat last week. I thank you for the friendships that were created. I thank you for just their willingness to be open and honest, and for how that honored you. I thank you for the time Rusty and I had writing our book. I pray that you will just direct the path for that. God, I just pray that there won't be any step along the way that people see us, but that they will see you every single step and see that your hand guided this, and it will go exactly how you want it to go. If there's anybody who's listening that feels tugged towards a retreat or towards coaching or towards an intensive, God, just give them the boldness to reach out and ask for help, because that's the first step. God, we love you, and we thank you for being you. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for, I said thank you for trusting us. You know what I meant. Thank you for loving us, and we trust you with everything that we have. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. See you guys next time.
Peace.